Hello everybody and welcome back to another online Chinese history class with me, Tony. Last class we reviewed the Shang tribe defeating the Xia tribe, talked about the Shang tribe establishing the Shang Dynasty, what Tang did as a leader, and that the Shang Dynasty moved its capital around a lot, unlike most other dynasties. Tang also established a stable rule of passing down the throne and deciding who was the next king. Now let's review. What was Tang's rule regarding this? A. Tang copied the styles of Yao, Shun, and Yu, the first three kings, and chose his next successor, who will then choose his successor. Or B. Tang decided to pass down the throne to the prime minister, and the prime minister would become the king, would choose another minister based on their performance to be the next prime minister, who will then become the next king. Or C. Tang altered the rules of passing down of Xia Dynasty. He passed down the throne to his oldest son, but when his oldest son retired from being the king, it will be the next brother in line who would become the next king. And if there were no brothers, there will be the son. Okay, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think more about this and answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, time's up. The correct answer is C. Tang passed down the throne to his oldest son, but when his oldest son retired from being the king, it will be the next brother in line who would become the next king. This made the transitions of kings more stable and made the Shang Dynasty last longer than the Xia Dynasty. Speaking of which, we never really talked about this, but estimate how many years the Shang Dynasty and the Xia Dynasty lasted. For the Xia Dynasty, A. 400, B. 430, C. 450, D. 470, or E. 500 years. For the Shang Dynasty, A. 450 years, B. 470 years, C. 500 years, D. 530 years, E. 550 years. I'll give you 15 seconds to think about these questions and answer, because there's 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Time is up. The correct answers are D and E. The Xia Dynasty lasted 470 years, and the Shang Dynasty lasted 554 years, and I said estimate, so it's about 550 years. Basically, the Shang Dynasty lasted 84 more years than the Xia Dynasty, but eventually it still fell. But today we're not going to talk about. We're going to talk about one of the accomplishments of the Shang Dynasty: money and currency. Back then, there weren't any types of currency. People had to resort to trading. People had to use items to get other items. For example, one person could get corn to trade for rice, or a cow to trade for some vegetables. This was quite simple. However, it raised a huge major problem. Let's say if one person had a bunch of crops and another person had 2 cows. The first person wants the 2 cows, but the person with 2 cows doesn't want the crops. Instead, he wants 5 watermelons. The first person with 2 cows finds a person with 5 watermelons, but the person with 5 watermelons wants apples, not crops. And the person who has apples instead wants some medicine, and the person who has these medicine instead wants some exotic grass. And you can see where this is going, right? And it can get frustrating. It was frustrating, and many people didn't like how this was going. So the Shang Dynasty decided to make their own currency. What currency did the Shang Dynasty make? Take a guess. A. Seashells. B. Bronze. C. Cash. Or D. Coins. I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so the correct answer is A. Seashells. The Shang Dynasty used seashells because they were on the beach, and it was difficult to get there because of the lack of transportation like planes and cars. It seemed very valuable to them at that time. And that will be it for today. See you next time.